Your life will not change just because you sit and hope. It will not change because you complain or blame the past. Life truly begins to change the moment you stop, look yourself in the mirror and say, enough. From now on, I take full responsibility for myself. That is the moment of awakening when you realize that success is not a miracle, nor a gift handed to you by someone else. Success is the natural result of the choices you make every single day. People wait for opportunities, for perfect circumstances, for a helping hand. But the truth is, waiting only traps you in the same loop, while success always begins with you through the very first step, however small but decisive. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself, tomorrow I'll begin? How many times have you told yourself you just need a little more time, a different situation, or less pressure? And yet that tomorrow rarely arrives. The perfect moment never appears. The pressure only grows heavier with time. Here is the raw but liberating truth. There will never be a flawless day to start except today. Every ounce of power is in your hands right now. Success doesn't discriminate by background, by luck, or by how many supporters you have. Success obeys only one principle. It belongs to those who are brave enough to take responsibility. The moment you stop blaming your parents, your boss, your circumstances, or society, and instead ask, how did I contribute to this situation? What can I do differently? That's when the door of change opens. That's when you shift from the mindset of a victim to the identity of a creator. Many believe success is a faraway destination, a monumental milestone. In reality, success starts at the simplest level in how you face today. Success is choosing not to repeat yesterday. Success is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Success is daring to take a shaky step forward instead of standing still in your comfort zone. If not you, then who? If not today, then when? No one else can carry responsibility for your health, your habits, your discipline, or your dreams. No one else will get you out of bed, reject temptation, or choose the hard but necessary path. And no one else will reap the rewards of what you never dared to do. Everything returns to one undeniable truth. Success starts with you and only with you. Awakening is not a fleeting spark of inspiration. It is a conscious decision. You will no longer live on autopilot. You will no longer lull yourself to sleep with the stories of, I can't because, or if only I had. Awakening means looking at yourself with complete honesty, accepting both your strengths and your weaknesses, and from that place choosing a new path. Not the perfect path, but one you truly own and take responsibility for. The truth is, you've known for years what you need to do. You've known which habits to break, which patterns to abandon, which steps to begin. But procrastination, excuses, and the illusion that there will be a better day have held you still. Awakening happens when you cut through those illusions. When you stop waiting for a signal from the outside and create one from within. I begin now. Yes, you may feel afraid, you may feel uncertain, but certainty never comes first. It is born after you act. Confidence doesn't precede action, it is built through action. Clarity doesn't arrive when you sit still, it comes as you move forward. The first step will always tremble, but it is that step which opens the road. And once the road is open, you realize the greatest barrier was never out there, it was always in your mind. Success doesn't wait until you feel ready. Success doesn't care whether you feel motivated. Success arrives when you act with consistency day after day, even while doubting, even when tired, even without applause. When you choose to do this, little by little, you build the strongest faith of all faith in yourself. And once you believe in yourself, the world can no longer keep you where you are. Awakening is the beginning. It is the moment you stop living like someone waiting to be saved and start living like someone leading. Every morning you face two choices: repeat the same cycle or rewrite your script. No one can make that choice for you. But that choice will define who you become in the years ahead. Success doesn't come from the grand things you hope to do in the future. It comes from the decisive actions you take today. Success begins with awakening from the truths you dare to face, the responsibility you dare to accept, and the step you dare to take right now. Not tomorrow, not someday, today, here, in this moment. Success starts with you. People often say they need more motivation to begin. They search for inspiring videos, books filled with rallying cries, or beautifully crafted quotes that ignite a spark for a few hours. But once the feeling fades, they return to square one, still procrastinating, still hesitating, still repeating the same old habits. The problem isn't a lack of motivation. The problem is a lack of direction. Motivation is a flame, bright but fleeting. Direction is the path, the compass that guides you through long, difficult days when excitement has disappeared and fatigue takes over. Without direction, motivation is useless because it has nowhere to go. With direction, you don't need to wait for feelings to rise. You move regardless of how you feel. Think back, how many times have you felt fired up after a seminar, a workshop, or a short video, only to feel empty and disappointed days later when the spark was gone? That is the trap of motivation. It makes you feel as though you've changed, while in truth, you haven't taken a single concrete step. Only clear direction can turn those fleeting emotions into consistent action. Direction means knowing where you're going, why it matters, and what path will take you there. It doesn't need to be glamorous or dramatic. It simply needs to be steady. A person with direction doesn't wake up each morning asking, do I feel motivated today? They wake up knowing, this is what I must do. That is the difference between living on impulse and living with intention. One waits to be pushed, the other acts even without the support of emotion. And it is always the second person who moves forward. If motivation is the wind, direction is the rudder. You can wait for the wind and hope it pushes your ship. But without a rudder, you drift aimlessly. With a rudder in hand, even in weak winds, you can inch forward towards your destination. Success does not belong to those who burn with short bursts of enthusiasm. Success belongs to those who stay faithful to their direction, no matter the circumstances. Do not confuse excitement with progress. Feeling energized is not proof of change. Progress is measured only by what you do, by the habits you sustain, by the decisions you repeat every single day. Direction gives you a destination to measure against. It keeps you on track. It reminds you that even when emotions fade, you still have a promise to keep with yourself. Look at your own life. How many times have you started with passion but quit halfway? How many plans were written in a rush of excitement, only to be abandoned when fatigue arrived? And how many opportunities have slipped away because you were waiting to feel ready? The truth is, you don't need another emotion. You need a clear direction and the discipline to walk it no matter your mood. Direction is like a light in the darkness. It doesn't make you sprint faster right away, but it keeps you from losing your way. It ensures that every step, however small, moves you closer to where you want to go. With direction, you don't need applause or validation. Your consistent actions become your proof. Make no mistake, direction doesn't kill emotion. It channels emotion into useful energy. When you know what must be done, every burst of motivation is no longer wasted on dreaming. It is immediately poured into action. And on the darker days, when motivation is gone, direction becomes the rope that keeps you from collapsing. You don't need to shout, I will change. You only need to quietly, relentlessly walk the path you've chosen. That is the most powerful declaration of action. Not loud promises, but steady steps. Not emotional highs, but patience when emotion is absent. Direction turns you into the driver of your life rather than the passenger of your circumstances. And remember, every great achievement is built on countless small but consistent actions. A person driven by motivation may sprint for a few days, but a person guided by direction moves steadily for years. Who reaches the finish line? Always the one with direction. Success is not about how you feel in this moment. It is about what you choose to do afterward. Motivation will leave you, direction will not. If you know what you want, why you want it, and you are willing to build a discipline to move forward, you already hold the true key to change. Stop wasting time chasing temporary feelings. Build clear direction, then walk it. Each day, every action, no matter how small, adds up to something great. And that is your declaration of action. You don't need motivation. You need direction and the unwavering determination to follow it to the end. Your success or failure does not begin with the world outside. It begins the moment you dare to face yourself in the mirror and admit, everything I have, everything I lack, is the result of the choices I have made. This truth is hard to swallow, but once you accept it, you'll discover a strength you thought you never had. It is easy to blame circumstances, parents who didn't provide enough, a job that gave no opportunity, a society that feels unfair. But you see how blaming has chained you, locking you in the role of a victim. As long as you live as though someone else is responsible for your life, you will remain stuck. The instant you dare to say, all of this comes from me, you step onto new ground, the place where power truly belongs to you. Taking responsibility is not self-punishment or drowning in guilt. It is the courage to admit that yes, there were times you gave up, opportunities you missed, mistakes you paid for. Acknowledging these doesn't weaken you. It makes you stronger, because only through ownership do you gain the ability to change. You cannot rewrite a page you refuse to admit you wrote. And you cannot reshape your life if you won't recognize your own fingerprints on it. You may have procrastinated, you may have abandoned efforts, you may have run from the truth, but every truth you avoid only lengthens the road ahead. The longer you delay responsibility, the longer you prolong stagnation. Many spend decades resenting fate, not realizing that one decisive choice today could transform everything. Blaming the past may comfort you for a moment, but it steals your future. The truth is simple. If you created a mess, you can clean it up. If you wasted time, you can reclaim it with discipline. If you allowed bad habits to control you, you can replace them with stronger ones to regain mastery. This is not condemnation, it is empowerment. Responsibility means you hold the keys to change. So why do people fear responsibility? Because it demands ruthless honesty. It forces you to admit that you haven't lived to your potential. It shows you the gap between what you say and what you do. It makes you face the fact that sometimes you simply haven't given your best. And yes, that hurts. But pain opens a door to the realization that you can be better. Imagine standing before the mirror not to fix your hair or adjust your clothes, but to look yourself straight in the eyes and ask, how have I really been living? Am I lying to myself about my effort? Am I masking my procrastination with excuses that sound reasonable? These questions sting, but they are the bitter medicine that clears your vision. Only by answering them with honesty can you step into a new chapter. No one else can do this for you. No one knows how many chances you ignored, how many promises you broke, how many times you said tomorrow. Only you know, and only you can stop the cycle. Do not wait for the world to rescue you. Do not expect a push from the outside. Salvation comes when you declare, I will take responsibility. I will change. Owning your life also means you stop waiting for permission. You stop begging for opportunities, you create them. You stop needing others' approval. You build value so strong, it speaks for itself. You stop wishing for an easier environment. You grow strong enough to thrive in any environment. Each time you take responsibility, you reclaim pieces of the power you lost. You stop living passively and start creating. You stop wasting energy on what you can't control and direct it toward what you can. That is the turning point, the dividing line between those who remain exhausted victims and those who step into maturity and lead their own destiny. Ask yourself, how different would your life be if you dropped the excuses? If you stopped wasting energy on blame and poured it into action instead? If, when you looked into the mirror, you no longer saw someone helpless, but someone willing to rise and begin again. That single shift could change the entire direction of your life. Success doesn't begin with luck. It begins with the reflection you see each day. When you are brave enough to face that reflection and admit that everything in your life is the product of your own choices, you also realize this: you have the power to choose differently. And when you choose differently, you create a different life. Simple, but profoundly powerful. So look in the mirror, take responsibility, and remember, the moment you do, you are no longer life's victim, you are its author. Success is not far away. It begins with a decision to take full responsibility right now. No one truly fails because of a lack of opportunity. They fail because they have delayed too many times. Procrastination is an invisible thief. It doesn't rob you all at once in a single night. It gnaws at you day after day, hour after hour, until one day you look back and realize a whole year has passed and nothing has changed. And instead of stopping to face the truth, you repeat the same familiar phrase, "I'll do it tomorrow." That tomorrow is the sweetest trap, the one that keeps you stuck in a cycle with no end. You already know what you need to do. You know which habits are dragging you down. You know which opportunities are within reach. You know which responsibilities are waiting for you. Yet, every time you try to begin, you find a reason to step back. Not enough time, not enough knowledge, not the right circumstances, not the right mood. The more excuses you create, the more you convince yourself that delay is reasonable, that waiting is wise. But the truth is, the opposite waiting only reinforces the old cycle and ages you in regret. Real power doesn't come from what you hope the world will deliver. Real power lives within you in the decisions you make in this very moment. Every delay is a moment you hand your power to circumstances, to feelings, to fear. Every action, no matter how small, is a moment you take that power back. When you dare to do what needs to be done, even before you feel ready, you declare to yourself, "I am in control." Some people say, "I'm waiting for the right time," but the right time never comes. The world will not suddenly become perfect for you to start. Work will not magically become less stressful. Money will not suddenly become abundant. Your mood will not miraculously align with your goals. The truth is simple. If you cannot act where you are now, you will not act anywhere, because it is not the environment that decides, it is you. Procrastination offers temporary comfort, but its price is long-term stagnation. It gives you a few moments of ease, but steals away months and years. It makes the present feel soft, but plants the seed of future regret. Every time you say tomorrow, you push a part of your life onto a day that never comes. And so another day slips by, another opportunity disappears, another dream drifts further away. Breaking procrastination does not mean you must do everything at once. It begins with the smallest act moving forward the moment your mind tries to stall. Write one page instead of waiting for inspiration to write the whole book. Exercise for 10 minutes instead of waiting for an open hour. Save a little instead of waiting to have plenty. Each small action is like a hammer blow against the chains of delay. The more you strike, the more you reclaim the power you once surrendered. When you realize that power is inside you, you stop seeking rescue from the outside. You no longer wait for someone to push you. You no longer hope for ideal conditions. You understand that the strength to change lies in choice. Either let fear control you, or let determination lead you. And that choice repeats every single day in every seemingly small moment. Do not let procrastination become your identity. Do not let the phrase, "I'll do it later," become the mantra that imprisons your life. Every time you postpone, you feed the weaker version of yourself, the version that refuses to live fully. But every time you act, even with shaky steps, you feed the stronger version, the one who lives with courage and dignity, the one who deserves more. Ask yourself, how many months, how many years have you lost to procrastination? How many times have you promised and broken that promise? How many times have you said, I'm not ready, and watched opportunities slip away? The answers may hurt, but that pain is the reminder you need. You cannot go on like this. Enough is enough. It is time to break the cycle. It is time to reclaim the power within. Don't wait for emotion to push you. Don't wait for motivation to appear. Don't wait for the perfect time. All it takes is one decision: act now, begin now, move now. Power does not live in tomorrow, it lives in the present. And if you dare to seize it, you will realize you were never powerless. You only needed to stop delaying. And once you do, everything changes. People often wait until they feel inspired before they act. They want to be full of energy, in the perfect mood before starting the important work. But that is a dangerous illusion. If you let inspiration decide your steps, your life will be ruled by something fragile and fleeting. Inspiration drifts in and out like the wind, but discipline is what holds you steady when the wind dies, when motivation disappears, when there is no excitement left to carry you forward. You think readiness must come first, then action will follow. The truth is, the opposite action creates readiness. No one begins with absolute confidence. No one starts with all the knowledge, skill, and energy they need. Those things are built in the process of moving forward. Just like strength is not gained from a single workout, but through hundreds of repetitions. Mastery is not given in advance. It is forged through starting, failing, and trying again. Discipline is the ability to say, I will do it, and then follow through regardless of how you feel. It does not care whether you are excited or bored. It only cares whether you keep your word to yourself. And this is where real confidence comes from. Every time you honor your commitment, you send yourself a signal, I can trust me. Self-belief is not born from moments of excitement. It is born from the times you acted when you felt nothing at all. Remember this, inspiration can help you start, but discipline will take you to the finish. Inspiration can fuel you for a few days, but discipline sustains you for years. In the end, what separates success from failure is not fleeting sparks of passion, but a daily consistency built one choice at a time. The most successful people are not always thrilled by their work, but they always follow through. That repetition is the true secret. Ask yourself, how many times have you delayed simply because you weren't in the mood? How many times have you quit halfway because your feelings dipped? How many opportunities have you let slip away because you didn't feel ready? The truth is, if you wait for the right moment, you will never begin. Because readiness does not come before action, it comes after. Discipline is the bridge between intention and result. Intentions may be beautiful, but without consistent action, they remain illusions. Inspiration may light a flame, but without discipline, that flame dies, leaving only familiar darkness. With discipline, you don't wait for emotion, you act anyway, knowing that once you begin, the feelings will come. Once you take the step, readiness follows. Do not mistake discipline for harshness. Discipline is not punishing yourself, it is choosing consistency for what truly matters. It is prioritizing the long term over the short term. It is choosing what is necessary over what is easy. It is stepping forward today instead of clinging to vague dreams of tomorrow. Each time you choose discipline, you lay another brick in the foundation of your life. And that foundation will hold you firm even when everything else shakes. Maybe you think you're not strong enough, not skilled enough to persist. But no one is born disciplined. Discipline is trained one small act at a time. Every time you finish a task without wanting to, every time you keep moving despite boredom, you are teaching yourself this truth. My emotions do not control my life, my commitments do. When that belief becomes part of you, you will no longer need inspiration to begin. You will only need to remind yourself, I do it because I chose to. Readiness is not the starting point, it is the reward. Those who wait to feel ready stand still forever. Those who act before they are ready grow into readiness along the way. Think about it if you start today. In 1 year you will be a different person. If you keep waiting for inspiration, in 1 year you will be exactly where you are now. So do not let temporary feelings decide your future. Do not let the lack of excitement trick you into thinking you can't. Every time you believe you need inspiration, remember, discipline matters more. Begin and readiness will come. Step forward and confidence will grow. Persist and success will be yours. That is the secret. Discipline is greater than inspiration. And readiness always arrives after you begin. No real change begins with deception. If you want to rise higher, you must first dare to be honest with yourself. Not the half-hearted honesty that soothes your conscience, but the kind of honesty that makes you uncomfortable, sometimes even hurts. Because you can only fix a painting by facing the smudges on it, not by pretending it's flawless. Pause for a moment and look back. How are you really living? Not the image you try to project to others, not the story you tell yourself, but the raw truth about your habits, your time, your energy, and your results. What do you do in the first hours of each day? How much of your time goes to meaningful work, and how much is wasted hiding from responsibility under the disguise of being busy? Humans are masters of self-deception. We say we are working hard, but often we are only spinning inside tasks that create no real value. We convince ourselves we need rest when we are actually procrastinating. We claim we are not ready when the only thing required is to begin. And so, year after year, we remain trapped in the loop of familiar excuses. Honesty is the mirror that reveals all of this. It forces you to admit that some of your habits are holding you back, that some of your daily choices are pulling you away from your goals. It makes you see that it's not a lack of time, but the way you spend it. It makes clear that the problem is not a lack of opportunity, but how you use what you already have. You cannot fix what you refuse to name. If you keep pretending everything is fine, you will never dare to touch the root of the problem. On the other hand, when you have the courage to say, I'm wasting my time, I'm repeating bad habits, I'm standing in my own way, you open the door to transformation. Not to condemn yourself, but to awaken yourself. Taking inventory of your life does not mean writing down every small detail. It means looking with clarity at the whole picture. Where am I putting my energy? What seeds am I planting with my daily actions? Am I living in alignment with the values I claim to hold? If the answer is no, do not run from it. That no is the starting point from which you can reshape your path. Honesty is never easy. It forces you to face the gap between your words and your actions, between your dreams and your effort. It makes you admit that sometimes you've chosen comfort over growth, short-term pleasure over long-term value. But only by admitting this can you raise yourself to a higher standard. Think of the times you've been disappointed in yourself. Was it because you lacked ability, or because you knew you hadn't truly tried? What hurt was not failure itself, but the knowledge that you hadn't been honest about your effort. Every time you promised to change but slipped back, every time you said you wanted more but lived the same, you cut away at your own self-trust. The only way to rebuild that trust is with honesty. You don't need a perfect start, but you need a clean foundation. You need clarity about where you are, what you've done, and what you must leave behind. That is not a sentence, it is a map. A map tells you where you stand, and only then can you chart the road to where you want to be. You can keep avoiding, keep pretending, but remember, life does not reward excuses. Life reflects only what you actually do. If you live in vagueness, your results will be vague. If you dare to live in truth, your results will be real. Success is not for those who polish up a story about themselves. It is for those who strip off the mask and say, this is me, not perfect, full of flaws, but willing to face it and grow. That is the true beginning. Start today with an honest inventory. Write down what you've actually done, not what you intended to do. Look at your schedule and ask, does this reflect the person I want to become, or does it reveal my procrastination? The moment you dare to ask that question, you are already halfway there. Honesty is the foundation. Without it, every strategy and plan is a sandcastle. With it, even if you start from zero, you can build a life worth being proud of. When you dare to live in truth, you stop fearing failure, because failure is simply feedback. You stop wasting time in illusion, because now you have a real map. Your life doesn't need to be perfect right now, but it does need honesty. And when honesty becomes your anchor, every other change will follow. This is the first door out of the loop and the first step onto the path toward becoming your best self. Time and energy are the two most valuable assets you will ever have. Once lost, they can never be recovered. Money can be earned again, opportunities may return, but the hours that pass and the energy you waste are gone forever. And yet, paradoxically, most people squander what matters most. They let others steal their hours, let mediocre habits drain their strength, let distractions eat away at their days. What they don't realize is this: when you lose time and energy, you are losing your life itself. You cannot control everything in this world, but you can absolutely control your standards. Standards are the boundaries that determine what you allow into your life and what you eliminate without hesitation. When your standards are low, anything gets in meaningless conversations, draining habits, pointless tasks that create no value. But when you set your standards high, clear, and non-negotiable, you protect your most precious assets, the time and energy to invest in what truly matters. Ask yourself, how many hours have you wasted staring at empty screens? How many times have you said yes to meetings you didn't need, to work that wasn't yours, simply because you didn't want to disappoint anyone? How many times have you allowed others to decide how you spend your time and energy? Each time you do, you hand away a piece of your life. And if you don't set your standards, the world will set them for you, but never in your favor. Reclaiming your time and energy begins with saying no. No to distractions, no to unreasonable demands, no to habits that only give temporary comfort. Every no is not selfishness, it is a declaration. I respect my life. I choose to invest in what is worthy. Those who cannot say no will always be pulled into someone else's orbit. Those who can say no at the right time free themselves to give their best to what truly matters. Setting non-negotiable standards means turning priorities into principles. You don't negotiate with sleep because health is your foundation. You don't negotiate with learning because knowledge is the key to every new door. You don't negotiate with training because your body is the only vehicle you have for the journey. When these become untouchable, you will notice your life begin to shift. Most people don't fail because they lack goals. They fail because their goals get buried under distractions. They let social media, endless news, and meaningless invitations take over. They think they are busy, but in reality, they are just pouring energy into things that don't matter. Without standards, your life is like a house with its doors and windows wide open. Anyone can come in and dump their garbage. With standards, you decide who gets in and what gets stopped at the door. High standards do not mean rigidity. They mean intentionality. You choose what is worthy of your attention and what is not. You choose relationships that lift you up, not those that drag you down. You choose work that challenges and grows you, not activities that only kill time. Standards become your compass, guiding you to quick, decisive choices instead of drowning in endless, trivial ones. Remember, real freedom is not doing whatever you want. Real freedom is the ability to eliminate what doesn't matter so you can focus all your strength on what does. People with standards live less scattered but more deeply. They are less busy but more effective. They are less distracted but far more powerful. They refuse to let life be hijacked by the trivial because they understand the value of every drop of energy and every passing moment. Do you want to change your life? Begin by setting non-negotiable standards. Write down the principles you will never break, no matter the circumstance. It might be, I don't scroll social media before finishing my main work, or I don't skip training, or I don't let anyone else decide how I spend my time. And once they are clear, hold to them with consistency, because The true power of standards lies not in grand declarations, but in steady, unshakable practice. Time and energy are your life. If you don't protect them, no one else will. Setting non-negotiable standards is how you reclaim control, how you stop scattering yourself thin, and how you begin to live with focus. Once you do, you will see it clearly. Success is not a distant dream. It is the inevitable result of wise choices, repeated every single day. Big change does not begin with giant leaps. It begins with small, steady starts, so simple they almost look insignificant. People often dream of a breakthrough day, a dramatic turning point that flips their life upside down. But the truth is, no one wakes up one morning and suddenly becomes their best self. Every lasting achievement is built on the foundation of small steps, repeated until they stack into early wins, gradually shaping a brand new standard of living. Small starts are how you break personal stagnation. When goals feel too big, your mind is overwhelmed. You think of the long road, the challenges ahead, and you convince yourself you don't have what it takes. But instead of focusing on the entire mountain, if you just focus on a single step, everything becomes possible. Waking up 15 minutes earlier, exercising for 10 minutes, reading a few pages, writing a few notes, each looks small, but together they ignite your inner engine. And once that engine is running, you'll find yourself ready to go further. Early wins are the instant rewards your brain needs to believe change is possible. Every time you complete a small action, you send yourself a signal: I've started, I can do this. That feeling plants new belief. And belief is the foundation for bigger action. If you only allow yourself to celebrate after massive goals, you'll likely quit because the road feels endless. But if you celebrate progress at each step, you'll sustain momentum throughout the journey. More importantly, small starts and early wins help you build new standards. Humans naturally settle for low standards: procrastination, old habits, mediocrity. But when you begin stacking early wins, you realize you deserve more. You see the contrast between a wasted day and a day that begins with the right action. You start asking yourself, if I can hold on to this small habit, why can't I hold on to another? And bit by bit, you raise the standard of your life. Look at your daily habits: waking up on time, keeping your space in order, focusing on one task without distraction for a short period. They may seem minor, but they are the foundation of discipline and self-confidence. People overestimate the power of one grand decision, but underestimate the compounding power of hundreds of small ones. One action alone may not transform you, but repeated actions will reshape you entirely. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You only need the courage to start small and stay consistent. If you want to build a habit of reading, don't force yourself into 100 pages a day. Start with 5. If you want to exercise, don't fantasize about an hour every morning. Start with 10 minutes. If you want to save money, don't wait for a huge sum. Start with what you can set aside today. Every small start is a brick, and when laid consistently, those bricks build a solid wall. So commit to action, not once, not occasionally, but relentlessly, day after day. Because in the end, the only proof of your vision, your discipline, your future, is consistent action.